Hey guys, hope you guys are well, hope you guys are doing great, hope you have had a wonderful week. So I'm not gonna waste too much time, I'm just gonna dive right in. You can probably see by the title what we are talking about today. Today, I'm hoping to give you 5 reasons why waiting is important. There's probably a lot more than the 5 that I'm gonna say today, but I just wanted to leave you with 5. So I do hope that you watch the video to the end and that this will be beneficial and helpful to you. As you may know, I always like to incorporate tweets into all my videos, and so recently I tweeted this and I said, why is it that we don't like to wait? Waiting teaches us discipline. It teaches us to assess a situation before making an action. Our actions form our steps, and we can avoid so many problems and issues if we learned to wait. Waiting isn't easy, but it's worth it. So having said that, I'm now going to jump into the 5 reasons as to why waiting is important and why, in fact, it's worth it. So, as I said in that tweet, I said that it teaches us discipline, and that is the first point. Waiting teaches us discipline. It teaches us to deny something and to be able to keep going even when we don't want to, even when you just want to give in. It teaches us to be strong and be firm in our decisions. If you're able to have discipline, you're able to resist something. If you know that you should wait for something, you're able to hold it off and say, until I have my facts checked, until I have certain things that are aligned, I'm not going to make a move. So I'm going to resist the urge to go after what I want, even though it might not be the right thing. And the reason why waiting is good and having that discipline is that when you are going for something, it might be the right thing, but at the wrong time. That's why it's good to have discipline and good to wait. Waiting, point number 2, strengthens your ability to say no. It's a bit like the discipline one, because you're being disciplined, but being able to say no, yes, it does take a lot of discipline, but you're letting your emotions and your body know that I'm not about to go for what I want, even though I want it. So the way I think about it is that if it's for me, even if I say no at that time, like I'm saying no to myself, like I'm denying myself the right to go for it, eventually the situation will provide the steps that will show me that this is for you. Again, by waiting, you're able to assess if this is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. So being able to say no mainly to you is good, but also saying no to other people, because sometimes they might want to rush you into making a decision. Never, ever let somebody rush you into making a decision that you're not sure about. Because if you're not sure about it and you make a decision, your steps are formed by your action, which was another part of the tweet that I said. Your steps are formed by your action. So if you are going after something that you're not sure about, you've made a step due to that action, even if that action was from a place of uncertainty, which is why it's even worse to make a move. And so you now step out of line and you're heading down a completely different path. One thing I heard recently was that a plane, all it has to do is move 1 centimeter or 2 from where the starting point, and it can end up in a different country. So by making a move that you're not sure about, you can step 1 to 2 centimeters out of your alignment of what God wants for you, of your path and things like that. And where you were heading this way, you can end up veering off all the way to there, and you be in a different location, somewhere that you didn't expect, somewhere that you didn't want to be. So that's why it's good to wait, because you will be able to say, oh, Okay, and it's good to say no. Hold on a minute. Of course, there are certain situations where you might need to make a decision quick. But when I'm saying that don't let anyone rush you, I'm talking about important decisions. For example, a house, where you're going to stay is an important decision because it determines what's around you, your location. Your job, what you do is an important decision because you're going to be there every day. So if you don't like your job and you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to be happy. And that might be because you just took the position even though you were uncertain about it. And because you took that position and didn't wait it, you missed another position that was good, which is another that's like another point, that like when you don't say no and you say yes to something, the thing that's actually for you may end up coming, but because your hand's currently occupied with that thing that was never really meant for you, you can't grasp the other thing. And it might be a thing where you try and hold on to both and hurt yourself, or you drop one but you lose the other, and it's not even like you lose the other to gain the good thing. Like you might end up losing them both is what I'm trying to say. So you drop this because you're trying to cling on to this, and in the process of clinging on to this you even missed the step, and so you ended up missing them both. If it is for you, it will always come back. It will always come back. Another important decision that you should wait for is like who you're going to marry.
When will you marry? When will you marry?
Because that is like, I don't think people actually understand and fathom how important the person you marry is. Because when you marry someone and you're connecting and joining yourself to them, and you guys like have a baby, you are producing something into the earth that will be part of your legacy. And if you marry someone out of haste and out of like biological clock and all these type of things, and you marry them and they end up not being the right person for you, it's gonna be more damaging than, helping you. You don't want that. So learn to say no to some things, learn to assess the situation, which goes on to my next point, assess the situation. That's point number 3. You need to assess the situation, because if you don't assess the situation, you will enter the situation blindly. You will enter and you won't know where you're going. So when you assess the situation, you step back, you look from all angles, all perspectives, and you might need to write it down just so you can get it out visually and see it in front of you. You might need to talk it out with a friend, but by assessing the situation, you can look at the pros and the cons. If you let your feelings and all that type of stuff get in the way, then you won't be able, it will cloud your judgment and you won't be able to assess it. If you let people who aren't good for you get into your ear, you won't be able to assess the situation, because you'll be listening to what they're saying, even though what they're saying isn't good for you, isn't beneficial, isn't helping anybody, only for their own agenda. Or they might think that they're helping you, but in fact they're actually just derailing you. And so you need to make sure that the people around you are actually people that are going to help you. They're gonna help you assess what's going on. If you're having people who are telling you stuff that, especially it deep inside, that this doesn't feel right, and you're telling people, now go for it, listen to yourself, because your gut is probably right. Yes, we can get into our own heads and tell ourselves that I'm not good enough for this, so we might deny it that way. But you know that there's that sometimes gut intuition, and that's different from you like speaking to yourself and saying nah. The intuition's different, and if you can listen and hone into that intuition, then yeah, for me that's also something that I'm trying to work on. I don't always get it right. Sometimes I know that I shouldn't have done something, or that I should have waited, and then sometimes I miss the mark, but I'm still learning. We are all learning, but intuition is very important when it comes to waiting. The next thing is deny your emotions. Again, it sort of falls into the assessing the situation, but deny that emotion, because like I said a few seconds ago, your emotions will cloud your judgment. And if you give into your emotions and you give into your feelings, you will end up making the wrong decision. There might be a lot of toxicity that's happening around you, but because you're so emotionally invested, you can't see past the clouds, you can't see anything, and it's all fog, and you don't know where your next steps are. You don't know what's on next. You don't know that if you take 5 more steps that way, you're about to fall off a cliff. You don't know that because you're so clouded by those emotions. And so that's why you need to learn to deny your emotions. Learn to deny your emotions, because they will, again, lead you off. And again, emotions is different from intuition. I guess your intuition can sort of draw into your emotion, but intuition's a lot more. If you don't have clarity in your emotions, it can also sometimes be a little bit hard to have intuition. So they are drawn in that way, but at the same time, they're slightly different. They're the same, but they're different. Like your emotions, they're emotions. You can feel angry or sad and whatnot, but even amongst that anger, you know that somewhere deep down, this isn't right. And I feel like that's your intuition. Do you know what I mean? But they can join together and sort of work hand in hand, that this doesn't feel right. And so you know it doesn't feel right. And that's when you go with it. But if you're really in love, you might not be able to fully see that this isn't right. The last point number 5, of why waiting is important is that it avoids unnecessary damage. Like, we're just not about to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to go ahead and make a decision that is going to lead me somewhere and break me further. You think you're heading somewhere, but you're actually drawing back. You think you're heading forward, but you're moving backwards. So that's why waiting's good. When you learn to wait, you can, like I said, assess the situation and avoid unnecessary stress, unnecessary heartbreak, unnecessary damage. If you were to cross the road without looking anywhere, this is that you don't assess your surroundings and the situation, and you just dive into the streets, yeah? You may get hit by a car, but I do say may because sometimes you might be lucky. So here's the thing about not waiting. You have like a certain percentage and a chance of being lucky, but because of that, you also have a percentage and a chance of not being lucky. So assessing the situation can avoid you getting hit by that car and avoid you having, broken legs, fractured arms, whatever it may be. And a couple of Bible verses that I just want to leave you with is that Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. And I think that this is a very, very important verse, because it's like you're trusting and you're putting your everything onto God, and so because of that, he's directing your steps. And sometimes God tells us to wait because there's something else that's coming. There's something that's on its way, and if you move too forward and you move too quickly, you may just miss it. And then quickly, another verse is Psalm 27:14. And it says, wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. We don't always want to wait. Everyone wants things quick. That's why we go to fast food restaurants and we get what we want on demand. But waiting, it's just, it takes strength. It takes a different type of strength to be able to wait. And that goes back to the whole discipline thing. You have to be disciplined and you have to want it. And I think the way I think about it is that when I don't wait and I go into this, what can the outcome be like? And if the outcome is going to be quite damaging to me, and there's a possibility of that, that's more of the reasons why I should wait. And even if you think that, it's not going to be damaging, have you fully assessed it? If there's one thing that I want to say that you should take, yes, all 5 points are good, but I think assess the situation. Because when you assess the situation, that even buys you time. It buys you time. It keeps you occupied in that process because you're assessing it to see if this is even the right thing to do. And then when you assess it, you can actually understand that, this is probably not even good for me anyway. Bye. Okay, this is good for me. Okay, let's go for it. But you didn't assess the situation. So just to recap, the 5 points were, number 1, it teaches you discipline. Number 2, it strengthens your ability to say no. Number 3, it helps you to assess a situation fully. Number 4, it helps you to deny your emotions. And number 5, it helps you to avoid unnecessary stress, heartbreak, and damage. It's important to wait, and I really do want to implore you to wait. Just hold on, relax, take a breather, rest. Look at other things. You know, if waiting's so hard for you in one area, pick up another thing so that while you're waiting for that, you're doing something else. So you're really not actually waiting. And another thing that people think about waiting is that they think waiting means being still. Oh, no, it does not. Waiting means that you're just putting and parking that thing to the side for one moment, but you're doing other things. So for example, if you're waiting for a husband, it doesn't mean that you're just sitting there idly. It means that you're picking up, how can I be a good wife? What are the attributes that I need to learn? What skills do I need to pick up? How can I be better so that when this husband does come, I can serve him well and he can serve me well and all that type of good stuff. But you're just waiting there and you expect somebody to come. When you get into that relationship, it's just going to be damaging. So that's why waiting is good. I really do hope that this video was useful to you guys. If it was, do let me know in the comments. And yeah, if you ever want to reach out for anything, please do. So thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful rest of your day. Until I see you soon, stay blessed, don't stress, and I will catch you after the test. Bye.